Up first, I want to introduce to you Nicole Young. I met Nicole Young a few years ago, and her presence in a room is unmatched. We celebrate her today to come in the leadership panel and talk about her journey because she is the 2024-2025 International Speech Contestant winner of D44. So D44, let's give it up for Nicole Young. And then up next also is a jewel I've known for a few years now. I had a chance to watch her from afar. And then I was blessed to join Speakers Roundtable at Advanced Toastmasters Club out in the Sandy Springs community. And I always heard her reputation precede her. Then I met the woman herself. And that is brilliance in human flesh, Claudia Brogan. She is a leadership coach extraordinaire, and there's so many things in her development toolbox. You just got to get to know her for yourself. Also up next is Toastmaster of the Year from 2024-2025. We're asking ourselves, with all these accolades, what are these people doing with that? That's why they've joined the panel today. We're going to show you what they're doing with it. Let's give it up for Katrina Foster. You can find Katrina in private leadership or public. She's literally hands and feet all around D44, and we are so honored to have her. And last but certainly not least, the champ is here. Division Director of the Year for 2024-2025, and in that process of coaching others, earned his DTM. And if you were to interview him, he says the DTM is more than an award, more than a medallion. It is an identity. It is who you are. Let's get up for this year's Club Growth Director, Distinguished Toastmaster, Chad Gates. So Nicole, Claudia, Katrina, and Chad, let's unmute ourselves and say hello to District 44.
Hello.
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 Morning, District 44.
Hey, that was an easy way
Morning.
to do a mic check. I love it, love it, love it. So D44, meet your panelists for today. As you've heard, each one of them bring a unique perspective, which makes them an ideal fit to speak to us about the summit. And around the Toastmasters areas or communities, many of us do earn the badges, the certificates, we earn the accolades, but there's always this burning question. What are you doing with that? And what has that truly done for you? I want to kick things off with Nicole Young first. I have a question for her, and each panelist will get this question. Then after that, they'll get unique questions. They're answering in table topics fashion. As you can see, table topics has been a common theme today to help us measure our time, stay on target, and show up when we've been afforded the opportunity. But Nicole, this first question is for you. How do you balance the commitments of Toastmasters with your personal and professional responsibilities? The reason why we're asking is because some people struggle with balancing and harmonizing it, and they sometimes feel they have to swap out one for the other. So what does life look like for you in 1 to 2 minutes as balancing all that out? Nicole Young.
Thank you for that question, Madam Toastmaster, Distinguished Toastmaster Renisha Allen. You're asking me, how do I balance Toastmasters and have Toastmasters balance into my life? Well, truly, Toastmasters spills over into your life in a positive way. And what I mean by that is when you are evaluating people, you learn to actively listen to actually that person. The ahs and the ums, it's not really that. It's really truly hearing the content of how they're speaking, which spills over into your life. So I think they intertwine really well. You actually listen to the person instead of listening for a response. You listen to understand. When you're in Toastmasters, what other things has it done for me? In timing, we heard about keeping time contracts. She was all up in my business of what I wanted to discuss today. Keeping time contracts yourself, time blocking yourself. Wednesdays are typically is our meeting day, and those are typically my days for admin for Toastmasters. And then I spill it over into my life, and that is my admin day for real estate. Wow. Toastmaster goes hand in hand with your life and in your journey in life.
Oh, Nicole, Thank you so much for blazing it. Claudia Brogan, you are up next. Same question. How do you balance the commitments of Toastmasters with that personal and professional life that you have going in Claudia Brogan's world?
You are so nice to ask. What I love to say is that actually, I feel like all of my Toastmasters intrigue and responsibilities and alertness weave right in to my work and the way my life unfolds. That it's not a separate thing that I have to think about or open a different notebook, that it actually is woven right in. For instance, what I mean by that is that Toastmasters has taught me ever since I went to my first meeting and was scared to death, over 20 years ago in a little town in Wisconsin. And do you remember the guts it took you to walk in the door the first time? Hold on to that bravery. That will serve you all the rest of your days. So I think about that day and I thought, if I can do that, I can do a lot of scary things. And it's all good. Look for the good. So one of the things that's true for me that has spilled over into my work life, both as a university manager of training and also as a training manager at the Task Force for Global Health, which is a big deal, is building everything I'm doing on these three words: consider your audience at all times. Toastmasters teaches us to do that it's not about us. It's about who's sitting there, what do they notice, what's clear to them, what could be useful to them. All the time, you're thinking about consider your audience. That flows through, and I will on purpose talk about Toastmasters things in my work world and in my contract world, and I will mention it by name and encourage folks to come along with me to the next meeting. It's woven through.
It's woven through. Claudia Brogan, I love it. It's already on fire. Going to tag team two more of your panelists, and then we're going to jump right into it. Katrina Foster, Toastmaster of the Year. How are you balancing all those commitments out, lovely lady?
I love what Claudia said about woven in, because my journey in committing to District 44 and to my real commitment of committing to Toastmasters was for the purpose that it was to help me get over burnout. And so I made the conscious choice that it was going to be woven into my life for the tools that I needed, that when you go to therapy, to the doctor, and they say you got to figure it out on your own. Well, this was a program that was always introduced for when you need to figure it out. So I knew that I wanted to get back to my leadership skills. So me coming to Toastmasters and picking the intentional time of a club was so that I could hound back into those skills. So it was intentional to be woven into my life of how I was going to use it. Now, in those stretches of getting back on, I had to learn what I was doing it for, to revitalize and to transform me into this next person. Also meant I had to start picking and being responsible to the opportunities that Toastmasters was bringing. So I had to learn about readjusting and prioritizing and not feeling that I'm giving up on Toastmasters because I can't commit as much time. So every human aspect of making a commitment was learned in that moment. So I had to weave it in into the next career that I actually got in, because I joined Toastmasters over these years. So my purpose was to utilize Toastmasters, and Toastmasters become a part of my name and mission. So it became natural in my day-to-day walk of why I was here, because I came with purpose, and that purpose paid off as I did the steps.
Wow, Katrina. No wonder why Chad say, hey, this is not about the medallion or the award. This is truly who we are. So with further ado, it's only befitting that we ask the gentleman himself, Chad, how are you balancing out the responsibilities over there in Chad land?
Well, thank you so much for that question, Renisha. And I love the answers from all of our previous speakers who have spoken. I view Toastmasters in one way as a gym for the mind. And just as you would want to go to the gym to improve your personal health, you have to do a bunch of planning and very intentional prioritization of when am I going to go to the gym? How am I going to prepare for that? What am I going to do? How am I going to get the value out of this? It's the exact same with Toastmasters. There's a lot of planning and prioritization that you have to do. So that way your whole life isn't just ad hoc all the time. So you want to look down the road. I usually look down the road maybe a week to 2 weeks, a month at the max, and figure out, when am I going to the club? When am I going to give a speech? When will I prepare for that speech and write it and practice it? So when I show up, I can bring my best self to that particular meeting and fit it into all of the rest of my goals. You have to continue on with your professional life, right? We live in an economic world. You can't live without money. But Toastmasters integrates to that and supports everything you're doing in your professional life. Just like in personal life, over the professional side, 90% of your relationships are talking. And Toastmasters will help you both speak better and to listen better so that when you speak, you're speaking to your audience and you're giving them what they need without any of the extra fluff. Be intentional and plan when you're going to spend time with Toastmasters.
Be intentional and plan when you're going to spend time with Toastmasters. And then there's this interconnected weaving that Claudia talked about. Oh gosh, just so juicy. Chad, since I already have you on the lectern and on the mic, we talked about you being Division Director of the Year, and Yolanda J politely reminded us you are a two-timer. The year before, you got Area Director. Charge it to my head and definitely not my heart. A woman wearing many hats behind the scenes, and you already know all too well. But take us into that moment before you even know there is this matrix or checklist to check off. What drives you, though, to just be the best? And how do you create those measurable impact moments when you were Division Director? You weren't even focused on being like the winner of the year. You were focused on really developing your people in the process. And did you get that in the end? Great. So tell us about that process behind the scenes. What happens with an area director or a division director? Because we got some ADs on the line today.
Zig Ziglar, how many are familiar with Zig Ziglar by show of hands? Know that name? Okay, perfect. Yeah, he once said, he said this a lot, you can get anything you want in life if you help other people get what they want in life. So as I approached both AD and division director, I thought to myself, who are the people that I should be serving in this particular role? How can I help them get what they want out of this role? And I knew that if I could do that, then, all the accolades would come, but there would just be, a bonus on top of really helping the people that you're going to serve get the meaning and the value out of their experience. So that was the motivation, to go as high as possible and get as much juice out of it, right? Like Thoreau said, I wanted to live life intentionally. I wanted to suck the marrow out of life. Yeah. Help other people do that and you'll get what you need. How did I do that? Two things: frequent contact. So the folks that I'm serving, I want to keep in touch with them on a regular basis to keep that pulse going. They never wonder if I'm, communicating with them or not. And number two, from a leadership standpoint, proximate goals. What does that mean? I just focus our people on what's coming next. It's the leader's job to look down the way, right? And see what's far away. And then tell your team about, here's the next way stop. Here's the next milestone. Don't worry about milestone number 2. We're focused on milestone number 1 right now. We'll worry about milestone number 2 when it gets here. The proximate goals helped to keep the team from being overwhelmed, and they would perform beautifully at every milestone that we went along.
Wow, Chad. I want to translate this into Fortune 500 companies, corporations. So we are going to tag team with Claudia Brogan here. Claudia, when you think about honing those skills, covering those people with what Chad spoke on, the constant contact, the proximate goals, how does that translate when you're in those high stakes environments with those contracts that you hold? What does that message look like? And what are those people looking for?
Excellent question. I love this question. One of the things that's true is in Toastmasters, we all agree, we have no time for tangents. We really don't have time for tangents. And when we know the discipline of being assigned a time frame for our speech, so we practice this muscle all the time. We don't have time for tangents. So when I go in and give a work proposal for what we shall do, I go in knowing how brief I need to be, how candid and non-jargony. If you trip yourself up in jargon, you will never make a key point. And so I take all the jargon out and I focus on 2 things when I make a contract project proposal. I focus on two things, and I do story and I do stats to address the need that they have in this workplace, and for me to signal to them that I understand their situation well enough, that I have either researched well enough to know from a customer experience or a staff experience what's hard, what's wrong, and what we can work on. So I tell a story about the real nature of what they're doing, and I give stats. I give real facts. So in Toastmasters, we learn to use our brains, we study things, we are curious, and then we stoke our curiosity and we get more curious and we read a thing, go read a thing. And so if I can be nimble, hit the ground running, talk to that person minus jargon, and give them a story and give them stats and tell them how I will move the needle to make a difference on those targeted areas, they say, hey, you seem to know us well. And that's the kind of contract worker we would like with us. So, we're Toastmasters. We go in with a beginning, a middle, and an end. We just do. We just do. And it's rare. Don't forget, other people in the world don't act like that. So when I go in to give a proposal, I have a beginning, I have an eye catcher, I have an ear catcher with a vivid story, an example. Then I have a middle as to the nature of the work, where's the problem, and I have an end with a solution and what we will do and where exactly we'll start. They go, ta-da, I love that. And that's all Toastmasters, teaching us to think like that, of how I could bring value to their situation and make an improvement.
That's impressive, Claudia, because I'm reflecting on our Region 7 advisor that's with us today. She is the mentor and the coach to the district leaders. And earlier when she spoke and when she was in prep mode to get ready, it reminded me of her when you just said that. She definitely had a story and some stats. And Amy sends out these weekly communications that makes us feel seen and heard. And I can't tell you how much that causes people to really buy into what you're doing because you have story and the stats. Hey, District 44, I don't know if you knew this or not. It's a leadership panel, but you just got a master class in less than 5 minutes with Claudia Brogan. So we're going to keep this rolling. Claudia, thank you so much. That was a phenomenal answer. Now I want to piggyback off of it and let's track over to Nicole Young. Let's go to Nicole. Nicole, being a award-winning contestant, making it to the big stage, being our own D44 champion, I'm sure you had a story and stats on your mind. What does that look like? If my story is crystal clear, my stats say first place winner. What does preparation look like for you behind the scenes as a contestant? Because we're exiting club contest season October 31st, and we're getting ready for area. So talk to us a little bit about that.
First off, I want to tell you what you guys have brought to the table for us as leaders and the ones who showed up today. I actually just want to sit and just eat from this table and not necessarily give to table. I'm just like stories and stats. I'm like writing things down. I am so thankful that you guys have this recorded because I will be going back to get all the stats. What I did to prepare and giving my speech and I had to begin with the end in mind. Everybody knows Stephen Covey had to begin with the end in mind. And the end for me was not just the club. It was not just the area. It was not just the division and the district. The end to me was to be on the stage at the international competition. Okay. So what did I need to do? I went on what I call a club journey campaign. Now, in Toastmasters, it's all about relationships. It's about the relationships that you gather and you have. I was an area director prior to, so I had good working relationships with the clubs that I was over. So guess what I got to automatically do because I had a good working relationship was, hey, Sherelle, can I come and give my speech and work on my speech in your club? Sure. Every single last one of them said that I could. And actually rolled out the red carpet for me. Now, the things that happened when I did going from club to club to club, they got to hear the speech for the first time, whereas my club got to hear the speech over and over and over again. And praises are great. And when you get praises, it feels good and you start getting this puffed up head, okay? and you start believing your own hype. But when you go to other clubs and you get the sting of feedback, it felt like a bee bite. It did. When you get the sting of feedback and you're thinking, no, she just didn't hear it right, because I know my speech is all that. And then I had to sit back and be introspective and think, wait a minute, she has a point there. Feedback is a breakfast of champions. When I got the feedback, that's when my growth and my story happened. And then when I went into my pathway, okay, and my next step in pathway said, prepare a speech with humor, I knew humor had to be inserted into my speech in order for it to be a masterpiece. And I got to prepare a speech with humor. So my journey was consistency with purpose, resiliency, and doing your speech over and over again, showing up even when you didn't want to, because you made that commitment to somebody else to show up to their club, because they're looking for a person to give a speech to show others how to give speeches. And then the creativity, it came when I was going back in my pathway. The curriculum is proven, guys. It said, do a speech with humor. Where can I insert humor in my speech to grab the audience and make an impact?
This is so good, Nicole. You are tapping into one of the projects that we're tackling with the Pathways influencers specifically. So team, while Nicole was sharing that, I want to just display something very, very quickly to show you what you can do to maximize this contest season. All right. So Nicole, you've inspired this on the, my apologies, you guys saw my little dusty desktop, but here we go. Pathways as a strategic growth tool. She goes to practice that speech at multiple clubs. If you do a laser focus on level 1, mastering the fundamentals, let's say you're a seasoned Toastmaster, you're done with mastering, not so fast. If you're preparing for area and division, I want to suggest something to you. Take your speech and introduce it as an icebreaker. Say, as I'm giving this speech, I'm stretching a certain skill about myself. Here's what it is. Now here's the speech, and do it. Don't just say it, like do it, show them. Next, writing speech with a purpose. Next time, make sure you practice it with your club or another club and say, I want to specifically highlight the purpose in this. So now I've introduced my brand with this. I'm highlighting the purpose. The next thing you can do is practice vocal variety and body language. You're keeping the same speech, but you're putting it in the lab and you're working on it. There's no rules against this, Toastmasters. And last but certainly not least, you do what Nicole just did. Evaluation and feedback. You give it, get some feedback, apply it, and give it again. Then you get to practice being somebody else's evaluator. What a treasure trove. And I hope that you guys adopt it. Even for you non-contestants, just think about a body of work that you really want to mature. And I double dare you to put it in the lab of levels 1 and 2 and watch and see how your show up mentality changes things. All right, I've got to get back to the panelists. I got excited, Nicole. You got the fire lit this morning. It is what it is. Katrina Foster, with you being Toastmaster of the Year last year, we do want to open up your treasure trove of wisdom as well and walk us through what that looked like. You not only received that decoration or that award because of the speeches you delivered, but honestly, there was a lot of presence that you delivered. So talk to us about your decision to show up, and then the reward of it is you were decorated with this distinction.
Well, the reward of Toastmasters of the Year, I guess for me, it is it's a reward of my entire journey of finally making it to where I actually was proud of myself for being a Toastmaster. By stepping up, by being consistent, it showed that I was consistent to my own goals. It showed that I was responsible. I didn't go after the award. I was just going after improving myself. So to know that other people recognize that in the moment, any role that I signed up for, when I signed up to chair the Winter TLI, It was not for the accolades. It was because I wanted to feel something within myself. And I was practicing my servant leadership style. I was practicing other skills that I wanted to work on within myself. So to just receive an award for something you were not going after, it opened my heart. I got to collacrimate and cry in front of others when I received it. I'm normally not a crier. I'm either mad or really happy. It's like no in between. I'm really strict, blunt, or really giggling and laughing. So that moment was me being very vulnerable in front of others because I just wasn't looking to receive it. I came here to work on me. I know that I am made to serve others. So that is just what I was doing. And each time that I stepped up to do something, I saw a need and I recognized that I could feel it. And I also knew it was an opportunity to stretch myself because of my personal life and because I was actually using all of you guys to fill spaces of things that I was missing, or how I wanted to practice throwing bubble gum to practice my love or speaking to somebody. I walked into Toastmasters knowing that I was doing my visionary communication path. That was my first path. So each step and each opportunity was for me to practice the things that I put in about myself and creating myself as a business. I have goals of being a coach like Rachel talked about and doing those things. And I wanted to be in the environment of saying, this is my vision and this is now how Katrina is developing through it. What are the opportunities from completing that visionary communication path? Now, one thing I want to tell everybody to be different from Katrina is to be intentional with your DTM. I did do a lot of projects and things on this way that I did not give myself credit for, that I could have the title of DTM, but that wasn't even my ultimate goal. It was a goal that's long term, like being an accredited speaker. But what I needed in the moment and why the Toastmasters of the Year meant so much for me is because I wasn't keeping up with my own credit, and I got to see other people celebrating me for things that I didn't even keep up or were looking to be accomplished for.
Wow, Katrina, and what would you say is that one challenge that you had to overcome to truly unlock all these doors of opportunity? What's that one challenge you overcame?
But being vulnerable and out in front of everybody else. Like I said, I could be very strict or laughing. In this journey, one of the things that I signed up for Toastmasters was to get ready to deliver a eulogy for somebody that I knew I was responsible and always been assigned to be the person to speak their last words over their life. So I started Toastmasters watching and being a caregiver, somebody transition. And so that was my whole purpose of part of being able to speak up, because I knew what I had to deliver. And in that, I find different ways of loving people as that person taught me to continue my love on, and how am I going to continue to spread it, and who am I going to become to continue to love. And so that was a big moment for me to start even practicing that eulogy to my club, or find the words to say that I'm going to celebrate the life and the person's no longer hearing it. It's very different to celebrate somebody's life and give flowers when they're here, but for it to be the last time that you know that you're going to give their flowers and give it to them in the world, and just hope that their spirit hear it, that was the biggest gift and the thing that I had to come over. And so it gave me an opportunity to practice being vulnerable in front of my club members, in front of other people, as I talked about why I was doing it outside professionally, but why this was a very personal journey for me.
Katrina, you've set the bar so high in this moment. I need to go unscripted for just 30 seconds. You were practicing to say last words. How many of us say when we come into Toastmasters, we're getting ready to practice last words to someone that meant so much to us? But Toastmasters is that safe place to help you even show up when life is throwing you punches and you want to shrink back. D44, I just wanted to pause and let you soak that in and take it in. There are so many people celebrating you in this chat. Vulnerability on display as an example, giving people their flowers while they're living, being open to the process, being vulnerable. People are really growing and getting delivered this morning. We see it. Breakthrough is happening at D44 today, and we celebrate the essence of what is happening. The hearts are flying. The chat is blowing up. Katrina, thank you. What you
Mhm.
all don't know is to prepare these panelists to play full out and to show up with great success. They did have an idea of structured questions on the back end, but I was preparing myself because these are some heavyweight Toastmasters where we'd have to pivot and shift because that's just who they are. Katrina, that's all I can say is thank you for the gift of vulnerability. Oh my.
Thank you, because this was even a bigger stage to say that out loud, and I did it with a smile. So,
You
so
did
thank
that
you
with,
all for continuing to help me grow.
oh my goodness. I want to seal the deal and go back around to our panelists, and we're going to give them a uniform question. So we started in uniformity, we broke out in their zone of genius, and then we're coming back. I want to end with this. Nicole, looking back, what is the one moment in Toastmasters that transformed you the most as a leader or communicator? In 1 to 2 minutes, what's that moment that transformed you the most as a leader or a communicator?
The moment that I could say transformed me the most, besides stepping into Toastmasters and just saying yes to Toastmasters, you guys would probably think it would be when I got the trophy, the tangible trophy that was when it was the moment. No, I would say the moments that transformed me the most is when I said yes to leadership and I was an area director and actually working with other clubs and viewing other clubs and seeing what they can improve upon, what I could bring back to my club, and being able to speak life into other people. Our Toastmasters journey is not about us. As we already saw with Katrina, our Toastmasters journey is how can I improve myself, give the growth to be able to impact whatever your nation is, whoever your nation is, right? No, I don't know. I'm faith filled, so I'm trying not to go scripture on you guys right now. But I would say area director was the main thing that helped me illuminate everything that Toastmasters had to offer. Before that, it was gibberish. It was jargon. It was all kinds of what is this and what is that and past governor this and DTM and all this kind of stuff. And when I really delved into being an area director and going deeper in it, that's when I drank the Kool-Aid. That's when I really said, whoa, this is the breadth and the depth and the deepness of Toastmasters it's unbelievable. And who's not in this? Why aren't you in this? Why aren't you doing Toastmasters? And one other time that I heard, I want to say it was Yolanda J. She said she introduced herself as I am a Toastmaster. What you say after I am is huge. And I am a Toastmaster. And it helps me to convey to others that this $60 every 6 months, $10 a month is the best $60 you will ever spend on your life because it breathes life into your life and to others.
Nicole Young, everybody. Woo, showing up strong. Claudia Brogan, what's your take on that transformation?
Oh boy. I'll tell you, so many things come to mind. If you were asked this question, what would you say? That's a fun question to explore, but I'll tell you the thing that comes to mind, top of mind for me, and that is a time period in our Speakers Roundtable Club when it became crystal clear that these are people in our club. They are not roles or jobs or suits or dresses. These are people in our club. And that's a few years ago when one of our members named Willie Heyman, if you've ever met him, you know, he was just resounding. He was just a life force. And when he would come to our club meetings, he lit the room up with excellence, with integrity, with passion, with cleverness, with remarkability. And as Willie got sick, what I saw happen in our Toastmasters Club is it sank in for all of us that we are real life people. And Willie is having a really hard time. He has given us so many gifts. We are showing up for him. So he was at Northside Hospital for quite a while. and I would go see him. And it would be tag team of our Toastmasters people. I swear, his wife would say, okay, I wake up today and I say to myself, which of the Toastmasters is going to show up today for Willie? And we would sit with him in the room, in the hallway, walk him down, make him chuckle, hear him make us chuckle. And then he went to a rehab place. And I showed up and sat by the bed and told him stories and asked him stories. And then he went to hospice. And I swear it was a tag team of our Toastmasters people coming through that hospice building to come and be with Willie, who's such a real person, to say thank you for the gifts he gave us. And here's the kicker. Here's when I knew it was real. When I went to Willie's memorial service, I looked around in the pews, and I swear this is true, with a chuckle in my voice and a tear in my eye, I say, it felt like it was a speakers roundtable meeting. It was all of us lined up to give flowers and talk and tell stories to his family of what an impact he made. That's when I knew, if you invest of yourself and your heart to Toastmasters, it will give it back tenfold. And I knew it was about real live people, so I keep showing up.
Thank you, Claudia. As you would say to us in Speakers Roundtable, nicely done. That was for you. Just a quick bragging right on Claudia. We're both members of Speakers Roundtable, Advanced Toastmasters Club. And at the end of the meeting, instead of doing best evaluator, best speaker, or best table topics, we deliver the Golden Gavel Award in honor of Willie Heyman. And we celebrate who was remarkable in that club meeting. And Claudia often will bring the virtual background of Willie Heyman with his beautiful smile. There he is. She's got it there. And we always pay homage to this amazing stand-up guy. So thank you, Claudia, for sharing that story. We're headed over to Katrina. Katrina, what's that one defining moment, that transformational moment as a communicator or a leader that you can share with us?
Well, in Toastmasters, I don't think it's about one moment. When you asked that question, a song came to mind, or a few words that from Madison Ryan Ward. It was like alternative Christian singer, and she sings this verse that says, "The bones are dead. It is hope that keeps us alive." So it's each one of those inspirational moments that I come across each Toastmaster is the moment of encouragement that Natina didn't know she was giving me when she told me to be more responsible. But then I had a gap in space and I needed another moment of motivation to continue coming. And then I've interacted with Nicole a whole lot. I know me and Nicole are ball of fire. We always hug. And when we see each other in passing, we don't get to spend a lot of time together. But this is like a family network. And each time I pass, the moment is more than just that first time that I met one person. So all the continuing of coming, it's a combination of moments for me. And that's what keeps me holding on. It's the hope that each person gives. It's the hope that I see when somebody even listens to me. I'm like, oh, you got something out of that? I did my job. Reach one, teach one. If it's only one, my hope is still going to spread. So it's each of those moments for me that keep me going, that have compounded to me being here this long. So I can't just say it's one moment or one person anymore. It is the organization that we have become, each organism that takes place and makes this atom of things. I'm a math and science person and finance. I love you guys. So each of you are like an atom on my chessboard that has infinite amounts of opportunity and hope for me to find a better way or have joy on my days down. And I've had plenty of days down and showed up, and I only smiled because of you guys. And it was hope that helped, that you all helped my family. So all of those moments are what's impactful and keep me coming, and why I love, and you'll see me, I'm a fighter for Toastmasters. I fight for y'all like family. You can't talk about my family. I can talk about my family, but you can't talk about my family if you not a family member that's able to open your mouth and talk, okay? And these are the moments for me. So I appreciate you all.
Hey, Chad, everybody on here is a representation of, are you ready to play full out? You see all this authenticity and vulnerability that's coming out. I want to hear from you last, but certainly not least, and we're going to hop over to some announcements. What's that moment, or as Katrina say, moments that has transformed you?
Well, thank you, Renisha. I agree with Trina completely. It's not a great onceness. It's not the moment. It is a series of moments that build on top of each other. Toastmasters really is about a continuous improvement process. In the world of human experience, better has no limit. And you want to stay in the game. You want to keep on growing because each thing you learn will allow you to see just a little bit further and with greater insight and with greater clarity than the moment before. That is exactly what happened to me. The challenge that I had when I came into Toastmasters was that I was a living question mark. I just had doubts all over the place. And the doubt was, am I good enough? And as I met people in Toastmasters and I worked with them and I grew, they fed me. They gave me encouragement. They reflected back to me through evaluation what I couldn't see from the inside out. They can see from the outside in. It's easy for them to read the label on the box. They're not in the box. So when I got the feedback that they were giving me as a mirror, I was able to learn that at this level, I'm good enough. At this level, I'm good enough. At this level, I'm good enough. And it made me want to just keep going and going and going. So keep on going. You have a fixed beginning here, but in the divine sense, you are future eternal. Don't stop.
Chad, that is the ultimate mic drop moment. District 44, I hope that you now adopt the posture to be grateful to grow, being grateful through every storm, through the rain and the sunshine, and never forget that we are empowering you to show up. Yeah.